a kid is gay, that should be a course that is specifically for them. I don't feel like...
Okay, so then should courses regarding how to engage in safe sex for heterosexual children only be designed for heterosexual children?
No, absolutely not.
Okay,
But
so then why should one be pushed on everybody, but then one shouldn't be pushed on everybody? Why do you hold a different standard there?
Like I said, there are other reasons why I support him than just money and FEMA. And I mean, I'm not against LGBTQ at all. I do agree that a person should be able to do whatever they want to do. If you want to identify as a lizard, that's fine. It's not me. So my whole thing with that, and I'm against abortion too. And I have my own story behind that. But the whole thing with LGBTQ, I don't think it should be force-fed down other people's throats.
I have a question. Have you ever met somebody that identifies as a lizard?
No, but I've met people
Then why are you attempting to make such a gross mockery out of people just like you?
I'm not mocking anyone. I'm saying if you want to identify as whatever you want to identify as, that is an American.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn your logic around on you to see how you feel. Okay? I don't have a problem. Listen, I don't have a problem with white people. I don't have a problem with white people. But shit, if you want to go get a massive sunburn while you're glugging beer all day, coasting down the river in your Walmart tube while leaving your children unattended at the neighbor's house who's on the sex offender registry, that's your thing. It's not mine. But I don't have a problem with white people. When you hear that, what kind of feeling does that invoke inside of your brain?
You completely turn that out. I mean, I'm fine. You completely turn that around, though. I'm saying if someone wants to identify as anything, they should be able to. That's their choice, and that is their right as an American. But I don't think it should be force-fed down someone's throat.
Okay. All right. You're not going to get...
I have best friends. Okay. No, I have best friends that are gay.
What specifically is forced down people's throats? I need to know.
Like a person said earlier, I don't feel like a young child. Now, if you get higher up into high school where children are more developed, fine, but I don't feel like a young child or a mother or a father should be sending their kids that are morally brought up differently at home and have to go to school and be taught about...
Taught what?
Things like that. No, I don't.
Things like what? We need the specifics. I need to know.
Because let's... maturity-wise, if a kid, like at my school, we had sex ed. Okay. I'm sure a lot of other schools did too. So I was in middle school, which is appropriate because sex happens. But I don't feel like a child that is in 6th or 7th grade going to sex ed. I feel like if they're going to sex ed, they should just female reproductive system, male reproductive system. I don't feel like...
Okay, I have a question. What is the purpose of sex ed?
To teach people about the reproductive system.
About how reproduction occurs?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah. So, like, specifically, like, gay sex is not going to be taught in curriculum surrounding how reproduction occurs.
It has to. I know of schools that I promise you
I need you to listen very specifically to me. Gay sex will not be taught in curriculum that is designed to teach children about how reproduction occurs. That will not happen because gay sex is not related to how reproduction occurs, right? So it wouldn't be taught inside of the curriculum. Now, if you want to talk about classes offered to older students, not about how just simply reproduction occurs, but how about we know young kids engage in sex and we need to make sure that if they're going to do it, which they shouldn't do, but if they're going to do it, they know how to do it safely. I think it's like perfectly fine to say, well, here's how to engage in heterosexual intercourse safe at an age-appropriate level, led by individuals with the qualifications in order to do it so. And here's how to engage in homosexual intercourse safe at an age-appropriate level, led by individuals with the qualifications to do it so. Okay, and if we don't do that, what you're basically telling me that only straight kids should know how to engage in intercourse safely, and gay kids shouldn't. And why would we hold a different standard there?
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying if a kid is gay, which is completely fine if that kid is gay. But that should be a course that is specifically for them. I don't feel like...
Okay, so then should courses regarding how to engage in safe sex for heterosexual children only be designed for heterosexual children?
No, absolutely not.
Okay,
But
so then why should
don't
one be
know.
pushed on everybody, but then one shouldn't be pushed on everybody? Why do you hold a different standard there?
Because morally, like, I don't feel like that's the way everyone's been taught. I mean,
So it relates back to a moral belief about being gay in the first place?
No.
Okay, so then what?
That's not-
So then, what moral belief does it relate back to in the first place? A moral belief about what? Because it's not a moral belief about teaching children how to engage in and sex safely, even if it's not sex that they'd personally engage in. Because you said that you're morally a-okay with like teaching GAY students on how to engage in heterosexual sex safely, even if that's not sex they would engage in.
I feel like it should be offered. I feel like everyone, regardless of gay, straight, whatever, I feel like you should be offered the same resources as far as safety and everything like that goes.
Okay, but
no,
resources for safe sex are gonna like vary and be different dependent upon the type of like intercourse that's being engaged in. I feel like that one's a given. You know, like for instance, I'm a straight man. I've never engaged in gay sex in my life, and for that reason, I don't know any of like the procedures and safety steps for safety that must be taken to safely enjoy and engage in gay sex. Just because it's a different form of intercourse, it's not vaginal, it's anal. So for that reason, I have no clue. It is different, and there's different steps to be safe.
And I feel like if you are a gay person and you do have homosexual sex, or I don't know if I can even say that word on here, but
I know. I don't know if we could say these words either. I'm like trying to be safe, but TikTok TOS is very restrictive.
If you are gay, I feel like that's completely fine. I feel like there should 100% be resources. Like I said, I'm not against.
So then what are you
anybody.
against? Because I feel like you're trying to like reaffirm again and again and again that you're not homophobic. Because like
I'm not homophobic. I have
right,
best friends.
instead of just like being real, having a spine and telling me what your argument is here. So, okay, you've told everybody watching that you're not homophobic. Let's hear the argument. What don't you like pushed, quote unquote, on children in school about gay people? I just want you to be clear. I want you to be clear and give us a clear argument. You're dancing around the point. You're making yourself unclear, and you're making this conversation at this point kind of boring.
My argument is 9 times out of 10, you have a family-based home, whatever. Your child, when you sit down and you tell your child about sex, I feel like that shouldn't even sex ed, period, whether gay or not. I feel like in some instances it shouldn't even be. I feel like that should be a mother and father's.
Okay. So then you're just telling us that you don't think that sex ed should be in school. That's problematic for about 1,000,000,001 reasons.
I'm not saying no.
Listen to what I say. Okay,
finish.
that is
You did not
absolutely
let me
what you just said, Amber.
You interrupted. No, you interrupted
Last
me.
warning: grow a
You did
fucking
not.
spine, say shit, and stand behind it with
I'm
conviction
trying.
instead of just bowing out and contradicting yourself 3 seconds
I'm
later.
not contradicting.
I cannot debate somebody that will not principally stand on their claims. I can't do
I
it.
am trying. I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to do. I feel like ultimately, yes, it comes down, it should be a mother and father decision. But yes, it does need to be offered in school just for safety. I do understand that not all kids and not all families have support systems. They do need school classes like that. I understand why it's necessary. But if I have a kid and I'm raising them a certain type of way, am I going to be mad if my kid is gay? No. Am I going to disown them? No. But if I'm teaching them a certain...
What the but? What is the claim? Be specific. What is your
The claim
problem
is,
with the
if I'm teaching
LGBTQ
them
plus
to
community?
know,
Give it to us. Give us the
then
claim.
That's the way it needs to be taught in school. And if my child does come to me and they say that they're gay, then I'm going to make sure.
Okay, stop talking. In 3 sentences or less, what are kids being taught in school that you disagree with? 3 sentences or less, please. You're avoiding the question.
Homosexual sex.
Okay.
It is being taught in school. I don't
Okay. Stop there. Do you think it is permissible for straight sex to be taught age appropriately to students in school? Yes or no?
Age appropriately, yes.
Okay. If it is permissible to teach straight sex age appropriately to children in school, then why do you think it is impermissible to teach non-straight sex age appropriately in school? What is the relevant difference between teaching straight sex age appropriately and non-straight sex age appropriately in school that in your mind makes one right and one wrong? What is the difference?
The age appropriate part, because it is getting taught. I know of schools that it's getting taught at a very early age. If a child is old enough to know that they are gay and to feel that way, then absolutely they need those reasons.
Okay, stop it. That is not a relevant distinction. That's not. Answer the question. If we were teaching both straight and not straight sex age appropriately in school, would you have a problem with it?
No, if it was age appropriate.
So then your issue does not lie with gay people? Your issue does not lie with, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, Amber. Your issue does not lie with gay people being taught about in school. Your issue does not lie with the LGBTQ plus community. Your issue does not lie with the left. Your issue does not lie with anything but your claim that you don't think that non-age appropriate material should be taught in school. And to that, I can agree. To that, everybody watching can agree. And that is a issue that bears no relevance, no input, no tangential relation to the LGBTQ plus community, liberals, Democrats, leftists, Kamala Harris, gay people, bi people, lesbian people, trans people, etc. This is like me saying that I don't like Trump because I don't like the color blue on tennis shoes. What the hell does the color blue on tennis shoes have to do with Trump? You're saying there's something here that is leading you to have an issue with the LGBTQ plus community because you don't think that non-age appropriate material should be taught in school. What the hell does a claim that non-age appropriate material should be taught in school have to do with the LGBTQ plus community?
You're taking what I'm saying and you're completely turning it around. First, I never said I had any kind of issue with the LGBTQ community. I actually said that I don't care. I feel like anyone should be able to do whatever they want. I mean, you're your own person. But all I'm saying is there is schools, 100%, there are schools that are teaching gay sex ed to younger children. And I feel
if they wouldn't just be teaching gay sex ed, they'd also be teaching straight sex ed. And the issue in both cases would be that it's not age appropriate.
The two is like ethics and morals. If I'm teaching morals in my home one way, then I don't feel like my child should be subjected to hearing about.
Does this moral just have to do with your child being subject to non-age appropriate material in school?
No, it has a lot to do with if I'm teaching my child that, you know, a man and a woman come together, they get married. I'm not bashing anyone that's not, but I am Christian. If I teach a mother and a father, a man and a woman get together and they have sex, because that's the point of sex.
Bro, why did it take so fucking long for you just to say that you think that a lesbian intercourse is wrong? By the way, let's say lesbian intercourse.
I'm not saying it.
Okay, I'm about to kick you in 5 seconds. I would rather you just be straight up and tell us that you think lesbian intercourse is wrong so I have something to debate than for you to dance around the fucking point. So either you stop dancing around the fucking point and you make a claim like lesbian marriage is wrong, lesbian intercourse is wrong, or you're going to get kicked. You look significantly worse, by the way, to everybody watching when you're attempting to dance around the point from just making the claim.
I'm not dancing around anything.
Yes, you are. You just gave a description about how, like, you're a Christian and your morals are that a man and a woman get married and how the purpose of sex is for reproduction. Well, obviously, we're having this conversation in the context of the broader umbrella of the LGBTQ+ community. You're making the implication / assertion that, like, lesbian intercourse is wrong because it can't reproduce. Gay marriage is wrong because it's not a man and woman. It's 2 men or 2 women. I'm going to need you to be able to, like, make those claims and stand behind them so I have something to debate instead of, like, making them as implications subtly, like, not even too subtly. They're very explicit. And then just denying them the moment I say them. So, like, make a claim, stand behind it, and debate me on it. Do you think that marriage is only between a man and a woman?
I feel like that's the way it should be, yes.
Okay, so this means you think that lesbian marriage is wrong, right?
I feel like they're their own people and they can do what they want, but I don't agree with it, no.
Which means you think it's wrong, right?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, why didn't you just say that 30 minutes ago?
Well, I mean, it's obvious that I felt it was wrong if that, I mean,
Okay.
Put a sticker on my forehead. But
All right. Why do you think that lesbian marriage is wrong?
I've just always reproduction, sex is. This is going back to the Bible. Sorry for anyone that doesn't like it, but
Okay. So in a nutshell, you think that lesbian marriage is wrong because they can't reproduce,
no,
right?
I feel like sex is to reproduce. You have sex to reproduce.
And
You can't.
because two lesbians can't reproduce with one another, you don't think that if they get married, you think that's wrong, right?
No, I feel like it's lustful.
Okay. All right. Got it. So if I were to marry a woman that's infertile, maybe she had ovarian cancer and had to get her uterus removed. Do you think that would be wrong?
No, because
Why? We can't we can't reproduce with one another.
And there are medical. I'm infertile. I have the same problem. There are medical. There's 10,000 ways to treat infertility.
Amber, if you marry a man, would you all be able to reproduce?
Yes,
How?
with the right kind of medication. Because I've done it before. I'm infertile.
Okay, there's medication. So assuming that no medication could cure your infertility or allow you to naturally conceive a child, do you think you should be able to marry a man?
Yes, because
Even though you can never reproduce with him?
If y'all got married with the intentions on reproducing, then
Obviously you wouldn't because you can't reproduce.
When you're infertile.
Now listen,
Then
you wouldn't get married with him with an intention to reproduce because you can't reproduce with him because you're infertile and there's nothing to cure your infertility.
Get married.
So okay. So if it's not wrong for a man and a woman to get married, even if the man or woman are infertile, meaning they cannot reproduce with one another, then why did you say it's wrong for two women to get married because they can't reproduce with one another? Literally take the two women that are can't reproduce with one another that you're arguing shouldn't be able to get married because of that fact. Replace one of the women with a man that's infertile. You still have that same outcome of a lack of an ability to reproduce, but then all of a sudden you just don't think that it's wrong for them to get married. What you're telling me here is that whatever the internal motivations you possess that drive that conclusion that lesbian marriage is wrong is completely not here nor there as it relates to their ability to reproduce or the lack thereof.
If someone finds out they're infertile after, okay, so if I got married to my husband tomorrow and I found out after we tried having a kid that I was infertile, yes, there is medications, but even if there weren't, the intention.
But listen, you are now, this is sophistry because you're changing the question that I asked you. I understand if you sit here and you reframe the question I originally asked you about a woman that is infertile, knows she's infertile and can never reproduce, and if it's okay for her to marry a man, even though she knows she'll never be able to reproduce with him, and then you answered yes. I understand if you change that question into suggesting that maybe she went infertile once she was already married, then they would still possess that original intention of reproducing, meaning that the marriage is morally acceptable. Then you have like a leg to stand on in the argument, and you're not just totally contradicting yourself. But that's not the answer to the first question that I asked. The first question that I asked was if there's a woman that's infertile, knows she's infertile, knows there's nothing that can be done about it, and knowing this, is it okay for her to marry a man? You answered yes, right?
Yes, because
Okay.
I mean,
so you think it's okay? So then stop trying to change the original question to suggest that there must be an intention to reproduce when you think it's okay for a man to marry a woman, even if there's not an intention to reproduce because they cannot reproduce with one another.
That's
You
not
just
the
told
only
me
reason you get married. I was saying why.
exactly, which is why it's okay for lesbian couples to get married.
Not morally, no.
Yes, morally, you have no leg to stand on because you're telling me that it's okay for a man to marry a woman even if the woman is forever infertile and there's nothing she can do about it. They cannot reproduce. You think it's okay. But then once again,
That's
in one
not
sentence
the
or
only
less,
reason
was your
it's not.
argument for why you don't think it's okay for two women to get married because they can't reproduce with one another?
Because you know that people get told they're infertile every day and end up having kids.
Oh my God. Amber?
When you're saying,
Amber, this is now the fifth time I'm repeating this. You are being dense. You are being intellectually lazy. And you are being unintelligent, quite frankly. If I'm going to be honest with you, Amber, like the level of patience that is required for me to give you right now.
You keep cutting me off.
I know. It's because you continue to revert back to an answer to my earlier question that is disingenuous and suggestively false. And I'll tell you why. Because you continue to tell me the reason why you think it's okay for an infertile woman to marry a man is because maybe she wasn't infertile when they got married. Or maybe she didn't know she was infertile when they got married.
That's not at all what I said.
So I'm going to be very clear with the next question. And if you give me a very clear response, I won't interrupt you, okay?
Okay.
If there's a woman that has literally had her uterus removed because of ovarian cancer, She knows that she can't reproduce. She knows that she will never be able to reproduce again. Okay? Are we clear?
Yes.
Is it okay for this woman that knows she cannot reproduce and knows she will never be able to reproduce again to marry a man?
Yes.
Why?
Because she's a woman and he's a man.
Exactly my point, Amber. The reason why you think that lesbian marriage is wrong has nothing to do with their lack of inability to reproduce, and all to do with the fact that it's two women and not a woman and a man. So this brings us back all the way to my very first question. Why is two women wrong? You cannot give the response that they can't reproduce, because as we just discovered, it has nothing to do with reproductive abilities.
I never said it was wrong or right. I said I don't agree with it.
Which is a suggestion that it is morally wrong. So why do you think it is morally wrong?
Because morally, I was brought up differently. I was brought up that a woman and a man get married, have kids. I mean, that's just my belief.
So in a nutshell, what is the reason why it's morally wrong?
Because it's not right. God made a man. And
It's wrong because it's wrong. Okay. Could you agree? Let's see if Amber's good faith. Can you agree that your argument is literally that it's wrong because it's wrong?
Yes, I can. Just like someone that is
I have a question.
married or in a relationship can argue that it's right.
I have a question. If you were talking to a white supremacist that thinks it's wrong to be black, and you were to ask them, why do you think it's wrong to be black? And they said that they think it's wrong because it's wrong, how would you feel about their argument?
I would think their argument is stupid because that's the way God made someone. Their color is the way God made them.
Okay.
Just like God made a woman.
So check this shit out. Check this shit out. Check this shit out.
And with all the reproductive parts.
So you're telling me that you think that their argument is stupid because they don't actually have an argument. They're just saying it's wrong because it's wrong. Actually, let me ask you this question. What is the relevant logical distinction between your argument that lesbian marriage is wrong because it's wrong and the white supremacist's argument that being black is wrong because it's wrong? Can you tell me the logical distinction between the two positions?
The logical distinction is I read my Bible. I'm Christian, and I do believe that God made a man with all the reproductive parts. God made a woman with all the reproductive parts that all fits together. And God, if someone's black, God made them black. If someone's white, God made them white.
Just like if somebody's lesbian, God made them lesbian.
I don't believe that.
Really? Okay. Did God design you when you were in your mother's womb?
Yes.
Okay. So if I inform you or I tell you that we literally see differences in the physical design or biology and neurobiology that of gay men and straight men, lesbian women and lesbian and straight women, that you'd have to concede that God designed them to be that way because it's rooted within a biological reality that was designed by him in the womb, right?
I don't believe that if you're gay, I don't believe that it's from the womb. I feel like there are outside worldly factor. I don't believe that. I know that there are claims that it can.
Check this out. So differences between straight men and gay men. We see that gay men have larger anterior commissures on average compared to straight men, which is the size of the nerve lining between the hemispheres of the brain. We see that they have varying and different traits of the AI NEH3 subsection of the hypothalamus, like different neuronic densities, as well as different levels of certain neuronic hormones, such as FSH. Okay? As well as we see in twin studies that there is an association along the XQ23 chromosome in gay men that does not exist in the chromosomal or genetic structure of straight men. So tell me what external influences can change your DNA, can increase the size of the nerve lining between the hemispheres of your brains, can give you different levels of neuronic hormones such as FSH, and physically change the brain structures of the AI NEH3 subsection of the hypothalamus.
I mean, that may be true. I've never heard that. So that's news to me. Thank you for telling me that. But in my opinion, just my opinion, I know there are studies done where it's from birth, but in my opinion, I feel like there's just other outside factors that...
What outside factors can change those things? I can name one from the Christian worldview. One outside factor that can change those things under the Christian worldview is God. Can you name any other outside factor under the Christian worldview that can change those things? Like your literal genetic code apart from God?
I mean, what you said may be correct, but that aside, I feel like there are more outside factors than.
So name any outside factor that can literally change your genetic code outside of God in the Christian worldview.
I'm talking like outside of the whole genetic belief. Because that may be a study done, but I still don't believe that I'm not. But, no, thank you for telling that, because I did not know.
So you
any
reject
of that.
the science. You are so I'm going to be honest with you, Amber. This is an issue that I see often. People are so caught in their web of lies that they've been taught from a young age that when we have damning evidence and certain proof that their web of lies is wrong, they would prefer to continue to walk in willful ignorance and denial of truth simply because it makes them feel more comfortable. Like, that's what you're doing right now.